모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 so fly
All right, welcome, Steve Kim. I've got a fantastic topic for you today. Aaron Rodgers. Man, when I say off the reservation, this man is off the reservation. He ain't scared. He's moving into Alex Jones territory. He's made some comments about Anthony Fauci and the United States government and HIV. Let's play the clip, and then we'll respond.
The blueprint, the game plan was made in the 80s. Create a pandemic, with a virus that's going wild, right? Fauci was given like over $350 million to research this, to come up with drugs, new or repurposed to handle the AIDS pandemic. And all they came up with was AZT. And if you do even a smidge of research, and I know I'm not a, epidemiologist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an immunologist, whatever. I can read though, right? And I can learn and look things up just like any normal person. I can do my own research, which was so vilified, to even question authority. But that was the game plan back then. Create an environment where only one thing works. Back then, AZT. Now, remdesivir until we get a vaccine, which, by the way, Anthony Fauci had stake in the Moderna vaccine. And we know Pfizer is one of the most criminally corrupt organizations ever. The fine they paid was the biggest in the history of the DOJ in 2009. Like, what are we talking about? We're going to put our full trust in science that can't be questioned.
Steve? Aaron Rodgers is the most, I don't know if he's right, I don't know if he's wrong, but he's dangerous. And I'm just wondering, he works for Woody Johnson, the Jets owner, who I think is connected to the pharmaceutical industry. How long do you think this continues before he gets the Kyrie Irving treatment or worse?
Yeah, Alex Rodgers Jones. Wow, he is out there. I don't even know what to say. When it comes to Fauci, absolutely, I'm with them on it. This should be one of the most investigated and vilified men in recent history. If you really look back at his history, that goes back decades, but specifically with the way he was anointed as almost like this god during the spring and summer of 2020 and beyond. And I look at that whole situation as a complete travesty to give one man that much power, who turns out to be incredibly, I believe, corrupted in a lot of different ways. And what our country went through, what kids went through that could not go to school, what it did to our culture and our society as a whole overall. The HIV part, I don't know about that one. That's a difficult one for me to go fully on board with. Because Jason, that didn't cause a whole worldwide shutdown. Look, people had the HIV, and there's a lot of blame over the Reagan administration, how they somewhat maybe ignored it, and they let that thing fester. You can second guess that. But, I was a kid during that era, and we heard about this disease, and it was like San Francisco was like the symbolic city or the capital of it. But, honestly, it didn't impact my life the way the pandemic did of 2020, but it is clear to me that Aaron Rodgers has designs on being much more than a quarterback. And this is my sense, Jason. In 30, 40, 50 years from now, when we write the history of Rodgers, I get the sense that football may not be the first few paragraphs of that biography.
So he was allegedly a candidate to be the VP choice of RFK. So maybe he has an interest in politics. But Steve, I'm just wondering, like, the NFL is part of the establishment propaganda narrative pushing agenda. How long, and I know he's at the end of his career, but how long are they going to let Aaron Rodgers talk this way while being associated with the NFL, the most powerful thing in popular culture, the most powerful thing on television?
Well, let's just put it this way. When you watch an NFL game, much like other sporting events, especially the last few years, weren't those companies, those pharmaceutical corporations, weren't they ubiquitous on those broadcasts? I mean, it was clear. Like, this game is brought to you by XYZ, and you're like, see, I get it. And really, there was one player out there during his days with the Green Bay Packers that spoke out about this. And in fact, he got vilified by the mainstream media, whose job it was to push these same companies, it seems like, for basically, remember the term, Jason? It was, I am immunized. He was very crafty with that until it was uncovered. I don't know how much longer he's going to be immunized by the New York Jets and the National Football League, because let's face it, they're all corporate entities. They're all in this together. But I have to give Rodgers a lot of credit. In an era when many celebrities or A-listers are afraid to really tell the truth or at least give their blunt, honest opinions, here's a guy that's just flat out saying it. I don't know if he has a bodyguard around him. If he disappears mysteriously next 48 hours, it wouldn't be the craziest thing that I've heard of. But I don't know. I get the sense that he has so much value to the Jets that even Woody Johnson realizes, you know what? I need this guy. And again, when we talk about players that protest, take a knee, go up against the flag and say stuff, you're allowed to do as much as your value to that team allows. There is that relationship that if you're up here, if you're an elite player, you probably get away with a lot more than if you're a mediocre one.
But the danger is if Rodgers is allowed to widen the Overton window about what can be discussed, players less valuable than Rodgers are going to start running their mouth about what they believe and being more honest about what they believe. And they're going to say, if you do something to me, you didn't do anything to Aaron Rodgers. And so what I think the real threat is going to be, or what the real deal is going to be, is you're going to hear powerful voices in the mainstream media, maybe even some NFL broadcasters, start trashing Aaron Rodgers as a nut job. It's no different than my entire career. It didn't matter, and you can go all the way back to Kansas City. Didn't matter what awards I won. Didn't matter how popular I was. The media was only able to write about me one way. He's controversial. You'll never find a newspaper article or anything written about me, and there used to be plenty of profiles written that would say, man, Jason Whitlock is an award-winning journalist, which is true. Man, Jason Whitlock is the most profound sports writer, or one of the most. It was always just Whitlock is controversial, Whitlock is a troll, or whatever. It was always a negative spin on me, and I think that's what the media is going to be, the group of people that assassinate Aaron Rodgers. And it's already started, yes. But it's just going to magnify and amplify.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, Jeff Pearlman put out a tweet, and he goes, as a Jet fan, I'd rather lose without him than win with him. Yeah, okay, Jeff. I mean, you're right. Here's the difference, though. During that era, Jason, there was no other thing than mainstream media. The dynamic has changed because Aaron Rodgers now can basically start his own show, the Aaron Rodgers Hour, and he can amplify whatever view that he wants. And it's clear to me that independent media is becoming more and more powerful through portals like YouTube. Now, maybe in the past, a guy like Aaron Rodgers would either be muffled or he'd be avalanche with criticism and then drown out. I don't think that happens anymore. And also, Jason, okay, take away the HIV claim, because that one has to be investigated. I'm not on board with that one yet as of this moment. I reserve the right to change my mind. But when it comes to the vaccine and the way it was handled and its effect, maybe 3-4 years ago, you would look at a guy like Rodgers and say, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. But as time goes on, these stances have been vindicated. Jason, I'm just going to tell you like this. I feel that I'm more healthy than anyone that took a vaccine. I didn't take a single one. I really didn't. I was against it. I decided to wait. It was my own personal choice. I would never tell anyone to do something to their bodies that is not, because it's not my business. Your body, your choice, right? Isn't that what they say? Or only when that's convenient. And I believe that there's a large segment of America that probably now really agrees specifically with Aaron Rodgers when it comes to Fauci and the vaccine.
Certainly, as it comes to Fauci and the vaccine, and you're right, I'm going to stay away from the HIV thing. It's not because I don't believe Aaron Rodgers. It's because I don't know for myself.
Yeah.
I've never looked into that, and I don't have any mature thoughts or interesting thoughts on that. I just find it fascinating. And again, Steve, last week before, over the past month, I've talked about FU money versus F me money. And Aaron Rodgers seems to be maybe one of the only guys that feels like, you know what, I got FU money. I got enough money that I don't need to be popular. I don't need, because I'll give you another one. You know, some of these brands may further step away from Aaron Rodgers. There's all kinds of ways they're going to attack him through the media, and then he'll become toxic and radioactive for brands. And so his sponsorship dollars, I think, will also get reduced. But again, I think this is a guy that legitimately believes, like, I got FU money, I'm good.
Well, no, this is what I do really respect and admire about Aaron Rodgers, as long as he understands, number one, when I say these things, I'm going to polarize people, and at least half the country will now vilify me. And number two, I'm never going to work for a mainstream company or a network like a CNN, MSNBC, which he seems to be fine with. And number three, I have enough guts to start my own platform. And number four, I understand what's going to be said and what my reputation will be to people that really do not matter. If he can handle all of this, more power to him. But again, Jason, I'm going to go back to my other point. In the day and age of independent media, where in essence, if you're a big enough brand and a name like Aaron Rodgers, you don't need the mainstream media like you once did. This is not 2000 here. You could basically start the Aaron Rodgers Network on YouTube. You could buy your own studios. That's how Pat McAfee started, right? So the ability to amplify your own message and to avoid censorship, even though that still happens, let's not lie about that. That again, this game has completely changed from about 20 years ago.
Thank you, Steve. Great job as always. I want to thank Balance of Nature for allowing us to do this segment. Go to balanceofnature.com. You'll get 35% off plus $10 off any additional sets with your first order as a preferred customer by using my promo code FEARLESS. That's limited to 5 sets, but you'll save a ton of money while getting the fruits and vegetables you need in your diet. Couldn't recommend Balance of Nature any stronger. Use my promo code FEARLESS. Thank you for watching. Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all of your fearless friends.